Welcome to the webinar series of Mehta and Mehta, Decoding IBC. And today's topic is valuation. This is our valuation series and valuation of land and building. And we have with us our panelist, Mr. Prashant Agarwal, who is a registered valuer under Companies Act and also under IBC. Welcome, Mr. Prashant. Thanks for time. And we have with us moderator, Mr. Devang, Thakar, the partner of Mehta and Mehta Insolvency IP entity, and who is himself is a registered valuer for financial asset. Welcome, Devang, for your
Hello.
Thanks for your time. Just to introduce Mr. Prashant, Mr. Prashant is his firm is known as is a valuation firm in valuation area for more than 10 years, providing valuation services pan-India. And while practicing as an architect for past 27 years with several real estate entrepreneurs, financial, land agglomerates, and real estate professionals. His professional qualification is his architecture, member IBBI valuation, IBBI registered land and building. Also, registered valuer under 34 AB of Tax Act, and he is a certified chartered engineer civil. He is practicing architect for more than 26 years. Practicing as a valuer of property since more than 11 years. Is empaneled with as a valuer with PNB, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank Trustee, then National Cooperative Bank, Deccan Mercantile Cooperative Bank, LIC Housing Finance, Reliance Commercial, Piramel, Tata Tele, and Sri Equipment Finance. As architect and valuer, they have pan-India presence and connected to various professionals. They have taken valuation under SURFACE, PMLA, Income Tax, Companies Act, IBC, for compliance purpose, NBFC, Housing Finance Company, Indian Accounting Standards, and the purpose can be for mortgage, loan, financial reporting, tax compliances, NPA, and also for NCLT, DRT, liquidation, merger, acquisition, joint venture, auction, adjudication, for court and legal proceeding, for family settlement, and also for replacement cost, for due diligence, techno-economic viability, for real estate project. They also carry out feasibility studies and preliminary estimation of real estate project, highest and best use studies. He is experienced architect and IBBI and Income Tax and Wealth Tax Act registered valuer and real estate professional with more than 25 years in architecture, valuation, and due diligence practice across India. He has carried out various transactions of due diligence valuation assignment. He is experienced in legal court proceeding, mortgage valuation, as mentioned earlier, and valuation carried out under Companies Act. And with this, there are so much for his profile. I will reduce it to this, that he has having a more than around 25 years experience and more than 11 years experience in valuation. Welcome, Mr. Prashant, to our program. Thanks a lot for your timing. And as I mentioned, we are IP, majority are there, and we know that we require to do valuation of land and building as and when the corporate debtor has land and building. And there are many challenges which you can present. I'll request Devang to say a few words on the topic, and then Mr. Prashant, you can start your presentation and share the screen. Yeah.
Most of the insolvency profession and other things have very less knowledge of land and building. So Prashant ji will add some important features to it so we can improve our knowledge. With this, Prashant ji, you can start.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here, sir. It is a pleasure to interact with all the learned participants and the attendees, panelists and attendees. It's great. Now I'll share my screen now. Okay. Uh, yeah, can you see this screen now?
Yeah, you can see it, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next part. Okay. So let me introduce valuation of land and building to all the participants and here. So as the valuation of a land and building, we estimate the monetary value of the property, which includes land as well as the structure or a building. We concentrate on the fixed asset part of the assets. So while valuing, we normally take into the factors like what is the location of the property, the condition of the property. I mean, if it is old property or a new property is well maintained or not. What is the market demand in such places, and regulatory issues. Now, as a valuation, why we need valuation for a property is that for a buyer or a seller or a lender, they need to understand what is the actual worth of the asset. You can very easily get the valuation from the government department also, which says that this is the ready reckoner value of the property, but that may not be an accurate and the actual worth of the property. So our basic role as a valuer is to ascertain the proper and accurate asset worth, including which we arrive at after considering so many other factors. So this is like this. And being an valuer, we are generally architects or civil engineers or a graduate course in valuation, which gives us a very different dimension to our profession and which helps us into the profession. So I'll go for the next slide. Yeah. So considering the purpose of the valuation, now valuation for a uh, valuation for fair is a fair market value, which is needed for various purposes like taxation, like for mortgage, or for financial reporting of any of the assets or like these things. I'll go for the next slide. That is more important. Now, many times the valuation is required for litigation and dispute resolution. If you have heard of, like, courts many times ask the valuers to go present a proper value of the property. Like if there is a family dispute or maybe some suit is filed in which there is a dispute of the value of the property between the brothers or maybe the family, the court appoints the valuer to ascertain the value of the property, and so the court can arrive at certain decision what is the value of the property. You must have heard of one case in which there was some uh, the BMC had uh, you know done something on Kangana Ranaut's case, if you have heard of, in which the court had appointed the valuer to ascertain the damage caused by the BMC during the demolition drive against there was some dispute like that. So this is like the importance of the valuer in the land and litigation dispute resolution part. Then we have IBC cases in which restructuring or liquidation or CRP, in which that we have to ascertain actual and proper value of the asset, considering so many aspects of being that company is going for an insolvency resolution purpose primarily. Yeah. There are different types of properties, and we have a different approach for these type of properties. Mainly, there is one like primarily there are residential properties, which includes houses, apartments, and townships. Now, valuation of these properties, for valuing of these properties, what we see is initially we see is the neighborhood. What is the neighborhood? What is the precinct? How is the approach for the property? How far it is from the main road, and what is the type of access? What is the uh, how well it is connected by public transport like buses or maybe autos or maybe railways. Then the amenities in the residential apartments or buildings. How is like what are the level of the amenities? Does it have a lift? Does it have proper ventilation, proper water supply, everything in infrastructure like maybe a drainage system is good or not, or maybe electricity is good, well connected or not. These are the aspects we consider for residential. When we are valuing for commercial properties, what we normally see is that is it in the proper market area where there is a lot of footfall, there's a lot of business activity going on. How how is the business going on? What type of business is here? There might be some places, there might be some malls areas, and there are certain commercial areas where there is a particular type of uh, business which is being carried out. And for that type of particular type of that business being carried out, there is a particular type of the design aspect of the property which is important. So we consider those things for commercial properties. For industrial properties, like where we see what is the area, what how well it is connected to the main highways, how well it is connected to the logistics hubs, the supporting ancillary industrial areas, which will support these industries. Now, supposing there is one factory or some industry which needs so many other ancillary uh, factors factories around to issue or to prepare a product. But if it is too far, then it will not be able to do proper business. So it will affect the value of the property. The zoning is very important there. If there is around the areas are residential areas, then the industrial properties will not fetch good value. But whereas if the warehousing zone is nearby, then definitely the industrial property will definitely have a better value. Similarly, if we go for agriculture land valuations, we see what is the type of soil. Irrigation facilities are very important. The weather is very important. What is the type of weather and the crop yield potential of the soil? What is the you know the terrain of the soil? If it is very steepy, then also it doesn't make much of sense. If it is marshy or something like that, or maybe a contaminated area, maybe contaminated by anything, maybe some uh, this thing, chemicals or something like that, then the value of the property decreases a lot. And similarly, if we go for mixed land use, maybe we consider that these properties are good for residential or commercial, then the aspects are very different from it. Yeah. So we'll go further.
Prashant, can you explain liquidity value and a going concern value or something
Huh.
for the same property?
Yeah.
The
So
distress sale.
yeah. So I'll do that. See, normally, if you ask for firstly the liquidation value, right?
Right.
Yeah. So liquidation value is basically our judgment when we go around and visit the site. We understand that what is actually the market value, but the liquidation during the process of liquidation, there is some difference in the value of it may not fetch exactly what the maybe the fair market value is because of certain reasons. Because there are many times what happens is there is a word of mouth that ये property में थोड़ा problem है, this property is under liquidation or something like that. So there the value of the property decreases. And
Prashant, normally when banks ask for the valuation, they take two valuation. No, one is normal valuation and one is the distress sale
Distress
valuation.
sale
Right?
value, yes.
Yeah.
Distress sale value, what happens is, sir, that what happens is that if you want to sell it in a hurry, or if you want to sell that property with certain, not exactly a proper, you know, proper, what you call, maybe uh, conditions, or the normal conditions. Maybe if you want to sell in a hurry, or maybe some other reason, if you want to sell it out, then what would be the value it may fetch out?
Okay.
That is the difference. And third also you asked, na, sir? What was that?
Distress sale value, liquidation value.
Yes.
Because in IBC, normally they ask for
Yes.
normal going concern value and a
Yes, yes.
liquidation value.
Yes, yes. The going concern, basically, sir, going concern value is definitely higher than the liquidation value.
So what parameters you consider difference between the two while giving a valuation?
So normally we have a judgment. It is not very well defined. So it depends on so many aspects of that property. We have to, go and have a proper judgment, and that is why a site visit is required. It is not normally what valuers do is that they simply go 90% or 80% of fair value is liquidation value. But many times it doesn't happen like that.
Okay, fine. And this valuation can be challenged because it's a subjective element, right? Because from value to value, it would differ.
Yes, sir, what happens is that, as I might be covering it in my later part.
Okay, so then we leave it at that time. No problem.
Yes. We'll go ahead. Now, the factors which are affecting affecting the valuation is very importantly, there is a location of the property. Now, this is very important for determining the value of the property. If you have a residential property or any property which is habitable, then we need a lot of services or a lot of areas where we need support structures, like schools, hospitals, commercial centers. Now these, if there is a proximity to these things or transportation, then the value of the property is high. If these are little bit at a distance, then definitely the value of the property reduces. And the shape of the size and shape. Now, very recently we had done a property of very small area. Now, what is happening is that this property purchaser was saying that what am I going to do in this? It is such a small property that I cannot do anything about it. So the larger the property, the better is the property, subject to certain limitations. Then there is a very important aspect is the shape of the land or the property. If it is very irregular, maybe you will see that yes, it is say around 1 acre or 2 acres or whatever. But what is the shape of the property is very important. If the property is very irregularly shaped, or maybe the dimensions are like it is a very narrow property where you cannot do anything, you cannot build anything, or you cannot use the property, then it doesn't make sense whether it is 2 acres or 100 acres. But if the shape is not good or irregular, the the potential of that property is not achieved. So that is why the shape of the property is very important. Thirdly is the zoning of the land. You might have come across that, you might have heard that this is residential zone, this is commercial zone, or there is no development zone, or maybe other zone. So the zoning of the land is very important, and associated bylaws are also important for that. Now, supposing if the land is abutting the national highway, the rule is that from center of the road, 75 meters is the widening of the road which is proposed. So if you are not aware, and if you might buy a property which is abutting the highway, it may be of no use because you cannot build anything on that. You cannot build a whole hotel on that. You cannot do anything on that. So even being at the very good location of touching the highway, it is of no use. So these are the legal and the zoning aspects of the property. Then another very important thing is the access of the road. How wide is the access of the property? And Now, if you go for a industrial property, the regulation is that it is the minimum width of the axis should be 12 meters for the trucks to come in and go out. So there are many times the land you might find they do not have any access, which we normally call as landlocked properties. So these are the problems which normally occur. Sometimes what happens is while getting the permission, we have to leave a road towards the for further development of the plots or the land which is beyond our plot. So sometimes what happens is that this while providing the access to other properties, our land gets reduced too much, which reduces the value of the property. I could have elaborated by some sketch if maybe later on I will add it. Then infrastructure, what is the electricity or water or sewerage is there, and these part like any property which is having electricity, water or sewerage is there, or maybe the gradient is good enough, or the roads are properly built, airports or the roadways are very nearby, then these properties definitely fetch a better valuation than other properties. A very important aspect of the is the topography of the property. Topography, if you are aware of, is the basically the physical aspect of the property. Is it very slopey? Is it hillock or something like that? Then those properties will not be fetching much good value. It may be a marshy land. It may have a steep terrain. There is no drainage possibility. Then these properties do not fetch a good value, and definitely the value reduces. Yeah. Now the building specific factors also we consider significantly, which affects the value of the property. Like how is the property, is it old or new? So normally a new property will definitely have a better value than older properties. What is the maintenance? How is the maintenance of the building? And how much is the if the building is old, if the property value it is not being properly maintained, then there is a lot of expenditure which may be incurred to correct it or maybe to renovate that. The quality of materials is very important. Sorry, I think I've just-
Prashant, there is any thumb rule given for all these calculations, a percentage for this things and other things,
So normally
or you
we
go for your judgment?
normally it is basically a judgment only. As I initially said, that being an architect or a civil engineer with at least 10 years of experience gives us this judgment of the property. Of course, there are certain thumb rules that there is a depreciation of say around 1% per year or something like that, but that is not exactly there once we consider the fair market values of the properties. For ready reckoner valuations or the stamp duty valuations, yes, there are certain thumb rules which are specified by government, but that is, as I said, it does not give you actually the actual picture of the value of the property.
Yeah, got it, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So now the construction quality, there are many there are many constructions where the workmanship is very poor. Of course, the person who is invested into the property had
There is a question in chat box if you want to take parallel.
Yeah,
let me just
I'll take after this.
Okay.
yeah. Now what happens is that the workmanship is such a significant thing that even if the best of the quality of materials you use, if the workmanship is poor, then definitely there the value of the property reduces like anything. For with workmanship, I may say that if you might have seen the cracks in the building or maybe the seepage in the building or maybe if the plastering is not done very well, there is a sort of a curve on the outer surface of the property where the water seepage is inside. There are so many things which affects the value of the property. The workmanship maybe maybe the construction material maybe are good, but the workmanship is very important. Then we have advanced features like green building certifications. Nowadays it has become very prominent, and now it is a talk of it that it is a green building, then it attracts a premium or maybe a higher value. The design of the building is very important. As I said, that the functional part of the building is very important. If it is not functional anymore, then it gets a obsolescence. Or maybe if you have heard of that many of the residential buildings, old residential buildings, they try to install a lift because earlier the lifts or the escalators were not so prominent or not of so much of use. But nowadays you find most of the buildings of for more than second floor or third floor, they would like to install a lift. But there are certain types of buildings where you cannot install it at all. So these are the very important aspects of the building where the value of the property increases or decreases.
So there's a one question which raised by Mr. Prashant saying whether the resale price is also considered for residential property.
I'll just see where it is, how to find out that question. Screen sharing, I'm sharing the screen. I'm not able to
You
see
have
that.
to go in a chat box,
Chat,
but it's
okay, yeah.
okay.
Whether the resale is also, yes, certainly, Mr. Parthasan. Yes, if we can talk.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Parthasan, definitely the resale aspect of the property is very important. That is in any of the properties or maybe a movable asset also or immovable asset. If the real estate potential, real estate potential of the property is good, definitely the value of the property is good, will definitely fetch much better. Like if you also, if I can add on this, there are certain properties in old cities where redevelopment is occurring now. So what is happening is that these flats are now sold. Either those people do not even sell only, or even if they sell, they will say that no, it is a 2 bed BHK or maybe this much square feet property. After development, it will be new building plus this would be the extra area we'll be getting. So definitely these type of properties definitely fetch a much more and a higher value. So that is why, as I said, that visiting a site with these type of aspects in keeping in mind is very important before valuing the property. I hope I have answered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sir, yes, sir. In IBC matters, many people, the land and building and the factory, and there are lots of residential premises also. So under the IBC pretext, how you will value a property if it's a residential and it's a commercial thing and it's a factory? So what parameters you look into for valuation purpose?
Now,
for
supposing
IBC?
for IBC or for IBC, we will always see that what is the the condition of the property, considering all these aspects of the properties. So,
okay.
So we'll go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. And now the design aspect I was talking about, that the proportions of the rooms or the proportion of the flat is also very important. You might see a flat which is not properly designed. It may be a 700 or 800 square feet, but the dimensions of that apartments, the rooms and these things are not proper. Like you might say that my room is around 120 square feet, but I say that is it 6 feet by 20 feet or maybe 10 feet by 12 feet. There's a huge difference. The area is same, but the design or the dimensions of the property makes a lot of difference. Similarly, the shop or maybe the office or the factory, whatever. The design aspect is very important. So, and these affect the value of the property significantly. Now further we'll go for, yes. Now utility services, as you're aware of, that these utility services like building have water supply is there, gas connection is there, sewerage system, power, and all these things. Definitely these, uh, when we go to and visit these properties, we also look into these aspects, that the power is well connected. Water, what about the water? What about the pollution level around? What about the gas, if there is a gas connection, or the sewerage system is there or not, or is it still not there? Now these aspects we consider while doing the valuation of the properties. Then how well it is maintained. These are the aspects we are normally considering. Now coming to the approaches of valuation. There is a market approach, which is normally a very common approach which we consider, is that we can compare the recent sales transactions. We go for online listing also. We ask, we can talk to certain agents or maybe known people of real estate people. We ask them what is the value, how would you, how would you value this property. These are the normal sort of a survey sort of a thing which we call, where we try to find out what is the property market there. We also make the different, there is adjustment for locations, okay, property size, amenities, according to our judgment. There is no thumb rule into these things. Now this is very important, and this is only possible where there is a market which is interacting, or maybe the transactions are occurring there. Now supposing if there are certain, we come across many times where the transaction has not occurred for more than 10 years. Now how do we do that? So then this market approach is not so much, very accurate, or maybe a proper way of working. And then we have to uh, do more research and find out the probable transactions, probable inflations in and around those areas, and then we try to come to the valuation of the property. Then there is an income approach, which normally is as per the what we call as the income generating properties. We capitalize on the what you call the income of the property and all that. Then there is a cost approach. Now cost
So
approach.
how the DCF method helps in a land or building valuation, sir?
Sir, it is not so much into the practice of it. It normally, basically, we try to try to ultimately find what is the average of the income which is being generated by this practice, and then we capitalize it. Normally,
Okay.
not.
Maybe it's a real estate project. Somebody is having building a real estate project, so that calculation would help you to calculate the land value.
Maybe, yes, sometimes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now the cost approach, and these are the properties where we normally insurance companies, or the where you try to find out the replacement cost of the building, or the depreciated replacement cost of the building is required to be ascertained. So this is primarily for insurance purposes, or maybe if you want to buy a old building, so you would like to know what would be the cost of the renovation or something like that. For this is the valuation mostly for cost approach, which is not a marketable property. Maybe there are certain properties which are not marketable, like there are the Samaj buildings, the religious sort of structures, or maybe schools or hospitals, where there is no proper transactions related to the market is occurring there. So this cost approach is mainly used there. Now the process.
So any example you would give for the last thing?
Yeah, like supposing if we had recently done a valuation for a property which had a school which had a reservation of school, had a reservation for hospital as well as for this community center. So what we did was that we had to have a what we did is that we tried to find out the value, the normal rate for hospitals and all hospital transactions, but we could not get them. So we had to discount to a certain level the normal market rate for the residential plot or something like that. Schools, we thought that we also discounted the similarly, and the buildings for that we had calculated the depreciated replacement cost for that. This is how we could do it.
Yeah, thank
We
you,
could
sir.
not, yeah, we could not. We had a long discussion with our clients also, because we ourselves were not so clear about the data which we were furnishing to the
Because
clients.
your things are very complex.
Yes, it is a complex, and it is more of the experience which we get and the judgment and the aspects while going into the practice. It is not exactly the formulas or the things which you can very well say this is into this is this. It is not a clerical thing. It is very judgmental and very it is an opinion sort of a thing which forms after so many years of visualizing and understanding the valuations.
So suppose there's a court request or something. So on what basis you have done a valuation and other things, and somebody challenges it. So how do you take care of it?
Sir, we have to explain what we have considered and what our intellect had, how we have used our intellect into that. That is the only thing we can tell. We can, if there is precedence, we can show the precedence that this was the thing which we are aware of. Then we can show that, or maybe like if there's a transaction available, then definitely there is no problem as such, like as per market approach. But
So there's one query in the chat box. Can you read it? In a real estate insolvency process, not all towers are fully constructed. For some towers which are only superstructure have been made, what would be the approach to value these unfinished structures? Because some of these buildings are complex and other things, only half the building is done.
Yes, sir.
So it won't have its full value. It will be always undervalued. So can you throw a light on?
Yes, very simple it is. Now normally I'll go for a high-end real estate, maybe not exactly high-end. Say if the rate of the per square feet of residential tower is say 20,000 rupees a square feet. Okay. Now in that 20,000 rupees a square feet, there is a land component or what you call FAR or FSI component, the land part of the and there is a construction part. Now construction part is normally around 2,500 to 3,000 rupees a square feet normally for a tower. It may be 500 rupees more if it is very high, of higher amenities, better amenities, then it will be 3,500 rupees a square feet. Now, what we do is that we discount it as only for the construction aspect of it. Now, supposing if the RCC part is complete, we normally consider it that it is a 50% only completed now. Then if it is the masonry work has been completed, then we can say that okay, 60% of the construction part is complete, not the tower part of it. Like you do not discount it on the 20,000, but you discount it on the 2,500 or say 3,000 rupees a square feet. And this is how you can say that this is the approximate cost which will be incurred to do the completion of the project, and hence you can discount it. And maybe some statutory, you can consider them statutory, like obtaining approvals or obtaining other aspects, you can discount it that way. I hope I have answered. Partha Sen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So normally it is not the percentage on the sale rate, but it is the discount on the construction part of the structure, not the real estate part or the land component. Yeah.
So you can go ahead.
Okay. No, yes. Now the valuation process, it is uh, it is the mix of the data collection. It is a mix of the site inspection. Normally, a site inspection is done, and then we get the data, and vice versa. And data in data also, there are many things which are missing. So what we do is that we get a data from IPs. We go and inspect the site, or first of all we go to the site and we get to understand what the subject property is. Then we ask for the data. Then we, as the selection valuation method is required, is what would be the maybe a market approach, or maybe income approach, or the cost approach. Then we analyze what is the data is, site inspection considerations, so many aspects, and then the report. These are the basic structures of the process. Now, what we consider more here while working on this data is the title verification. If the title is clear, then definitely the value of the property is higher. If the title is not clear, there is some disputes, then the value is definitely less. Now, how much it is dispute, how much is the uh, unclarity or disputes, what are the type of disputes, will definitely, as per your intellect, you can discount the property. This thing, zoning of the land is definitely, as we have discussed earlier, these aspects do uh, affect the valuation. And the building, building code and compliance. What happens is normally is that, especially in industrial properties, this is the problem which you are normally everywhere we face, is that we are given the drawings as per the this factory inspector, whereas we want a land the drawings which are approved by the authorities from the building permission departments, which we do not get. Now what happens is that in that particular area, the building actually the building is proposed is very small, because of very less FSI which is granted, or maybe some restrictive things are there. So these buildings do not actually comply with the local bylaws and all these things, which definitely will reduce the property. So we try to find out the actual building approvals done for this particular property, and if it is not compliant to that, then definitely we reduce the property of the value. We only normally, we discount the value of the property. And sometimes we similarly, if you go to see, there are many residential buildings also which are not those people are not obtained the permission from the authorities. So those properties do not command that much high rate or the high values. So this building codes and compliance is very important, which normally a buyer is not aware, unfortunately, and they end up into a major. Many times they end up into a major issues later on, which they are not aware of. So these are very important. Then the market fluctuations are, these are the very common aspects where we face and arguments or maybe discussions happen, is the rapidly changing market conditions or economic conditions. These things make a huge difference, especially if we have during the pandemic, we have seen that was a too much of volatility. There was too much of constantly changing types of property buying scenarios. In our building only, where my office is, we have seen that the larger offices started shutting down and the smaller offices started picking up. So this was the thing. Then the work from home culture or some technology and these type of things also make a huge difference. The infrastructure also is a huge impact. It creates a huge impact. The proposed infrastructure, maybe like metros are there, or we say that okay, इधर railways आने वाली है, ये इधर जो है ना metro का station आने वाला है. So then these type of properties, these type of properties definitely start commanding better values and higher values than the other properties. Then we also, as I discussed for the market approach, that many times it is not easy for us to find out the sales transactions, very recent sale transactions, which gets into problems. Legal disputes are there and other aspects. Then there are few other things which I would like to share, which I have not mentioned here, is that now supposing there is a subdivision in the land. Now what happens is that you and me have decided that okay, you will take this much of square meters, I will take this much of square meters, but there is no proper drawing which is there, which shows that okay, this part is mine and this part is mine. Now the dispute occurs when I say that the road side is mine and the other side is yours. I hope I am trying to explain it properly.
Yes, sir.
So there is a intangible asset is there with you, which says that okay, you possess so much, you have this much area. I also have an intangible, but there is no tangibility into that. That what is the shape of the, say there is a plot of say around 1,000 square meters. I say that we have agreed that you have around 400 square meters, I have a 600 square meters. But where is that 400? Is it abutting the roadside, or is it away from that? What is the shape? Now supposing you have, I give you a patta of say around 20 meters by say 8 meters, whatever, making it 400 meters, but that is of no use. So the intangible aspect is that yes, you are having 400 square meters, but what is the shape is the tangibility of the asset, which is very important. And the authority which certifies this is the government survey department, which normally people do not have, and then these type of aspects do come in. I've done one valuation for some insolvency purpose, wherein the property itself was challenged by other part of the property owner, saying that this property belongs to me, and these people had not done the official survey for those properties, subdivisions of those properties. So these are the very common aspects which it surfaces in the very last of the during the valuation time. Normally people from financial side, I'm sorry, I don't mean that, but they are not able to understand this aspect. So these are the things which are important, and this is the place where we find that we are not able to actually explain what is the problem. So this is a challenge, major challenge with us. And as Devang sir said, there are differences in the valuations of different valuers, right, sir?
Right, sir.
Right. So what happens is these are the aspects which are not like what we have discussed is these aspects are not there's no thumb rule for all these things. It is there are many many types of valuation which is only a opinion based on the experience, based on the observations of the valuer himself, and that is why there is sometimes a huge difference. Now recently, for example, we have visited one site. I visited that site when the site was cleared. The earlier valuer had visited during the monsoon. It was very marshy that time, and there was a lot of grass in there, and the gas pipeline was going through that. Now that gas pipeline has those hoods on the land, hardly around 1.5 feet, so, showing that gale or something like that, which was not visible, and it was not mentioned in the document also. And I could see that because by that time the grass was cleared. So there was a huge difference. I said that 15 meters this side and 15 meters this side is basically not buildable only. or maybe a valuer might not be aware of the local laws, as sir said. I think that the local laws are not so very well versed of the valuer. So then also he may not be able to access the issues which may be related to this property. So then the values of the properties definitely varies from valuer to valuer.
So Prashant, can you take one of the two case laws so things can be very clear practically to them?
Yeah, case laws I have mentioned here.
Yeah.
So that we'll discuss later on. I'll I'll go for more of now. Maybe I think we are done with this.
Right.
Uh, I think yeah, we are done with it. I would be I would like to interact more with people.
So you can take the case laws because practically people would understand the theory concept which you'll be able to explain it to us.
Case laws, sir, I have not so much gone into this, so I won't be able to work on this, talk on these things. So
You can take anything you would like, or we can finish it up, whichever you would like to do.
case laws. I think we'll discuss on that in the next time, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. I would like to interact with people so that
Yeah, we
participants,
will interact.
so that will be better, I think.
Okay.
Should I stop my sharing of my video screen?
Anyone would like to interact, we can open the forum to the people. The one-to-one chat can be there.
Yes.
Anybody interested can raise their
hand and we
raise
will
their
try.
hand
How do we
so we can
stop
unmute them.
I think they will put in chat only.
Okay, let's see. No.
So no queries have come. If somebody comes with a
Yeah.
query and other things, we'll forward it to you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes. That
Yeah.
will be better, sir. It will be really nice to talk to them because explaining in very small times is very difficult. Because what we
Prashant, you gave a very good insight to land and building valuation because most of the IBC and the financial professional and the legal professional are not experienced. They don't understand it. They understand figures, law, legal, and other things.
absolutely.
So you are very well explained that it's more of a judgmental call.
Yeah,
there is
definitely.
a
I'll be more open
request.
to that.
Mr. Prashant, there is a request to explain once again the unfinished tower valuation.
Unfinished, you can, yeah.
Okay.
Again,
yeah,
okay. May I exactly listen to the question from a person so that I can understand exactly what that person wants to know.
Mr. Partha Sen, you can unmute and speak.
Yeah. So that I think that will be better. Because it will be a discussion, then it will be better for me to understand what exactly he wants to know.
Mr. Sen, hello? Unmute Mr. Sen?
I got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Actually, I have an assignment. I am working as a authorized representative for the home buyers. So, it is a huge residential project. Not only the residential things are there are also market, shop, market, multiplex, everything is there within that complex, building complex. And now it has gone to CIRP.
Okay.
Now what's happened? Many of the towers are now finished. And also the possession is given to the respective allottees. Okay. No, these are not registered. That is a different thing. But out of the towers, there are some towers for which only the superstructure is constructed. Now,
internal work is remaining.
We are asking for the resolution plan parcel wise, not for the entire project. For this parcel one, this consists parcel one. So EOI is invited. EOI is published for the resolution plan. For the towers which are still under construction, not completed, when the valuation will be done,
Hmm.
I mean, valuation to it, and when the resolution, when the resolution plan will come,
Hmm.
how the valuation for this tower can be ascertained, so that we can understand that, okay, the value, I mean, the offer which is given in the resolution plan is adequate.
Right, sir. So, firstly, what approach I would be having is, now this is a very opinion-based thing, aspect of the valuation. Now, firstly, what we will say, okay, what will be the project total value of the property when it would have been completed,
Okay,
right, sir?
okay,
Now, you will try to find out what would be the cost to be incurred in completing that project.
okay, okay,
Right. So as I said, sir, if it is on a good real estate part, like if the value of the properties are more than say 10,000 rupees a square feet,
uh,
then the construction aspect is only considered.
acha,
How much would be the cost which will be incurred in completing that project? How much will be the cost which will be incurred in, if it is a big layout, as you mentioned, sir, then
okay.
you will be also considering the development of the land and the whole project. Like,
The land is already developed, sir. I mean, the construction already started.
no,
Up
the
to
construction is started, sir, but there are finishing aspects of the project is not only the uh, particular tower, but the approach road, the gardens, the
okay,
infrastructure
okay,
which is
okay.
required,
Amenities, you say, okay,
amenities,
okay,
drainage,
okay, okay, okay,
drainage of the open spaces.
okay.
Then there is parking area which is developed in a different
Right,
way.
right, right,
The
right.
pathways, maybe some gardens or maybe a jogging track or maybe some areas where only a vehicular entry is not is restricted.
Ah,
These type of development is also there. Then the electric poles, maybe some amenities like street furniture is to be provided, or maybe some activity which is being generated there, a sort of maybe an amphitheater or maybe whatever, as per the proper total layout design.
okay.
So you have
Prashant,
to.
can you give an estimate? Because in real estate project IBC, the
Hmm.
balance sheets are inflated. So
Yes, yes,
can we
yes,
give an estimate at how much
Uh,
cost is to
yes,
be
yes.
incurred or how much value is given to this unfinished construction done?
Yeah, I was coming to that only, sir. Now,
Right, sir.
normally, if now again there is a different type. Now, if it is a resort, then the development cost is less. If it is a
yeah,
real estate property which is on the city side, then you have more of paved area. Those construction cost increases. Then around we consider around maybe around 500 to 1,000 rupees a square feet also of land on the land.
yeah,
Now, for the towers, as you were saying, sir.
yeah.
Now, what we normally feel is for a residential towers of around say ground, maybe a ground plus 20 floors, we consider a construction cost of around 3,500 rupees a square feet.
Ah,
Okay, in that we norm as a thumb rule, not exactly, but in a general way, we consider that around 50% is for the RCC. You understand that RCC, the main structural or the framework, what you said,
acha, acha, acha.
it is
50% is for that.
approximately 50%.
Okay,
And the balance 50% is divided is normally 10% for masonry work,
okay,
10% for external and internal plaster, come flooring, then electric, then doors, windows, and those types of connections, Uh,
okay,
so
okay.
this is how you can try to find out and ascertain what would be the cost which is going to occur, and you can
Mhm.
discount it by a certain aspect that, of course, you will be employing maybe an agency which will be charging around 20% as a profit thing.
Now, sir, actually, why I raise this question, I
Hmm.
am acting as a authorized representative. I am representing the home buyers. Okay.
Right, right, right.
So when the valuation will come, as a thumb rule, can
Hmm.
I see that what is the circle rate minus what you say that
No,
some
no, 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 sir, no,
discount for
not exactly
construction?
circle rate, sir,
Huh?
not circle rate.
Not circle rate.
No,
Okay.
no, no. That is what I mentioned in the very early is the fair market value.
Okay. Okay.
So the value of the that would, like, supposing the fair market value is 20,000 rupees square feet upon completion. When everything is going fine, you will
Okay.
be getting it for say around 20,000 rupees is the value of the property.
Ah,
Of this, the component, land component is around 15,000 or 16,000 rupees square feet. That in any case, that person will be getting because of, he is
Right.
going to buy that.
uh,
The only thing is the construction part. Concession also partly the builder is developed, constructed. Partly you have to construct on your own, or maybe through a CRP or whatever process.
Okay.
So that concession cost and the development cost you have to ascertain.
Development. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Development of the whole project, like as you said, it is a huge project.
Uh,
So with huge project, you have to have so many amenities, so many things. Like you have to have a generator, you have to have the drainage system of the
Now,
whole.
these are related to the unfinished towers you are talking, or for the entire project
Yes,
you are talking?
no, you have to see. Sometimes a developer might have constructed, done all the infrastructure part, everything he might have constructed, everything he might have completed. The towers he might have started later on, and so you have to go and find out. And after having an inspection of the site, only you can pinpoint that what are the things which are left over. Am I clear, or further you want further? There's some question.
So
Hello.
basically, it will be a judgmental thing, project to project.
Project to
There's
project, you
no
have to
rule
visit
to
the
it.
site and you have to note down कि ये बाकी रह गया. These are the things which are remaining. These are the things which are remaining. Sir, where are sir? कहाँ गए? Has he lost the connection?
I think we may have lost the
No.
connection.
No, I think, yeah. Can you hear
Parthasar
me?
sir.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Yeah. Actually, my duty to make them understand, the home buyers. Then look, this is the
So,
actual, and that's why I want to know that.
Yes,
Yeah,
so you can ask some valuer to access, prepare a sort of a valuation report based on this.
Right.
Then that valuer will come and inspect the site.
Yeah, that they do. Yes, that they do.
That person will visit the site. He will jot down everything, whatever is remaining, and he will try to get the value of the part which is remaining.
Okay.
And subsequently, you will have to derive it. It is not
basically,
very simple. Clerical. It is not clerical, sir.
Basically, it will be two aspects. One is how much is cost of construction till now
Yes.
it's actually occurred, and
Yes.
second thing, how much money is required to complete the project.
Yes.
Yeah. Understood.
And thumb rules I have told you that if now supposing if it would have been a very small plot, say around 500 square meters plot, the infrastructure development cost is almost nil, sir, because mostly the plot is occupied with the building plans.
Okay.
So so these are the things that if it is a big plot, then infrastructure development is too high.
Yeah, it is a huge project, sir. It's a huge project.
So you have to visit the site, sir. Then only you will be able to find out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think all the questions answered, and we can close this. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Prashant, for your valuable insight into the valuation of land and building, answering the questions, explaining the subject in detail, because as we discussed in starting, it is a very complex issue and each case is different. You rightly mentioned that it requires to be analyzed based on the facts of the case. But yeah, you try to explain in a very simple manner so far possible. Thanks a lot for that. Thanks, Devang, for your time. Thank you, Prashant. Thanks, participants, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
Happy Diwali to everyone.
Happy Diwali to
Happy Diwali to
everyone.
everybody. Enjoy Diwali.
Thank you.
Thank you.